Let's go. Kakadosh Boker or Bekiim Halacha 3, day 93, page 207, Siman Kavbet. It's a new Siman. We're talking about now Shechianu on a talit. Okay, Al Talit Chadasha Mevarech Bikat Shechianu. On a new talit, you're going to make the bracha of Shechianu. V'minhag levarech Shechianu b'shas sheba litatev b'papam rishona. So when do you make the Shechianu? Not when you buy it. That's why it's the Chidush. Because usually, according to Shtam Maran, you always make the Shechianu when you buy the new clothing. And then when you're going to put on the new clothing, you're going to make the bracha of the bracha of Malbish Harumin. Okay, that's the according to Shtam Maran, right? However, though, here the minhag is that we make the shechianu at the time when you're going to put it on the first time. Page 274. Our sages taught that one must say the bracha of shechianu when making the tzitzit for oneself, and this is the ruling of the Rambam. The Bet Yosef Maran brought down Rabbi Yitzchak Avohav asserting that the Rabbat Turim disregarded the Tosefta, since the Talmudic principle is that when you say make the bracha of shechianu when you're fulfilling the mitzvah, right? He says when that only occurs once in a great while, such as eating matzah or in sukkah, there's no justification, therefore, to come and to make a bracha of shechianu when you're making a tzitzit or tefillin. This is likewise the ruling of the Sefer Yitur. So when you're purchasing or fashioning a new talit, however, one does make the bracha for the new acquired garment. This is the ruling of the Shulchan Aruch, which matches the ruling in Siman 223, that one should make a bracha of shechianu when you buy new clothing. The Magen Avraham asked, if this is the reason for the saying the shechianu for the talit, why did Maran specify that one is making the bracha only after making the tzitzit to the talit? He resolved the question by explaining that one should not make the bracha of shechianu until the garment is finished, that it's finished to be worn. One does not make the bracha of the blessing purchasing a bolt of material, right? Although one plans to make a garment from it. Okay, and therefore he comes and he says the Maran specified that he has to make it only after attaching the tzitziot. The Mishabra explained that the difference to those poskim who rule that one should always make a bracha on shechianu upon fashioning the object of the mitzvah, Maran ruled in this case one should make the bracha only after making the tzitzit, which means like this: you bought a clothing. So when you're going to come and you're going to wear the clothing, you're going to make a beracha. So he says, okay, so here, when can I make the beracha now? He says, no. Only after you finished, it's a finished product, now you can make the beracha of shechianu. In practice, nowadays, the common custom is to say beracha of shechianu over new clothing, only when first wearing them, and not when acquiring them. Okay, again, that's why I told you, because going to Shamaran really meant when you're acquiring them. The Ben Ish Chai and Yosef ruled that this practice applies to a brand new talit as well, meaning the same halacha applies to a talit. The Kavachin Sofer explained that this is because it is possible that the person who acquires a talit may never up wearing it for whatever reason. For example, he might decide to give it away. Or if this happens, then again it's bracha al-batala. So to be safe, we postpone the bracha until he actually wears the talit. Okay, in this way, we're equating the practices of making the bracha over new clothing to our practice over new fruits. Instead of making the bracha when you see the new fruit, or which technically that was the halacha, we postpone the blessing until we eat the new fruit. And in the same way, we postpone the blessing over a new garment until we wear it. The Lachabra added that there's sound basis to recite the bracha when you buy the talit, following the rulings of Maran. Again, according to Maran, it's when you buy it. So technically, you do have what to rely on if you're going to do it when you buy it. Halacha bet. And then afterwards, meaning the first bracha that you make is the and afterwards you make the bracha of shechianu. There's no hefsek. That's also the minhag. 275. This is the ruling of Rav Chida. In the Machzik bracha, the Chesel Alfim Kafachim Falache, the Ben Ish Chai comes and the Kafachim Sofer, that this is the same formula we practice when you're eating new fruit. So, for example, you're going to make Borei Pri Ha'etz and then shechianu, the same thing. The Rishon LeZion explained that according to Rabbi Eliezer Papo, right, there's the Pele Yoetz. These two cases are not comparable, meaning do not compare a fruit and the clothing. He says why? Therefore, although when eating a new fruit, you're going to make the bracha and the shechianu second. When you're putting on a new talit, you first make the bracha, right, of shechianu even before the bracha of the mitzvah. The Rishon LeZion countered. He said, "What are you talking about? There's no difference to differentiate between the two cases. Whenever you make a bracha, right, you make the bracha, and then afterwards the shechianu. So the same thing. That's what you do that for Megillah. You do that for shofar. You do that for the Chanukiah. You do it for everything. So what's the difference?" So the Mishnah likewise ruled that one must say to the bracha first of the Ketev Tzin and then shechianu. The Birkat Hashem. This is Rav Moshe Levi, right? Rabbi Moshe Levi. Right, however, argued that one should make the bracha of shechianu only after putting on the talit, so that it will not be interruption between the blessing and the act. Meaning, according to him, you don't do shechianu and then litatef. You do litatef. You put on the talit, and now you make shechianu. So that way there was no hefsek between the litatef and tzitzit, and you're actually putting it on. According to Chaim Kanievsky, this is what the Mishabura means as well. Meaning, according to Chaim Kanievsky, that was the pshat in the Mishabura as well. Right? Even though we said no, that really be'emet, it's like what we do until today. Now, Shomazab and Orbach pointed out that the Mishabura seems to contradict himself. Regarding a new fruit, he ruled that one should make the bracha of shechianu first, and then the bracha of the fruit. And then here he's ruling on a new talit that you first say shechianu after litatev tzitzit. Rav Orbach answered. He explained that regarding the new talit, that the talit is new for its owner only. So he's the only one that's obligated in Shechianu. So because of that, that's what he's saying to do with litatef. So he says, therefore, the blessing of litatef, right, is going to come first. Regarding a new fruit, the new fruit is for everybody. So since the new fruit is for everybody, he can make the Shechianu first, and then he's going to make the beracha on the fruit. Because the Shechianu is basically on seeing a new fruit. I saw the new fruit. It's everybody has the same Shechianu. It's not only just on me. Okay? Fine. Now he comes and he says as follows. Right? He comes and he says like this. Let's say you forgot to say Shechianu the first time around, right? And you already put it on. You can't do it the second time around. However, though, you could still make the bracha if it's still on you. Meaning, as if right now you put it on and then you took it off and you're going to put it on tomorrow and then you're I didn't do Shechianu. No, it's already too late. But if it's still on you and you forgot to make the Shechianu, as long as you're still happy, you could come and you could still make the bracha. Halacha Gimel. A talit katan chadash, on a new talit katan, you do not make shechianu. It's done as chashuv. But if you did make it from a devar chashuv, for example, the wool, you could make a shechianu. There's number 276, right? He says like this: the chesel alafim comes and ruled that if someone fashions a new talit katan using an inexpensive fabric, right, that does not bring him joy, obviously he does not make the bracha of shechianu. That's also the Ben Ish Chai and the Kavarim Sofet. This is the ruling is also brought down in the Har Tzvi. That was a Tzvi Pesach Frank. Right, and he added in also that if the fabric is expensive, you could say shechianu even during the summer. He says even though the person wears a talit for the express purpose of fulfilling the mitzvah and for no other reason, this is enough to consider an act of wearing a garment for one's benefit. Furthermore, he says since the garment provides warmth on cold winter days, it is considered a beneficial garment at all times. In contrast, he comes and he says, the response to the Igrot Moshe rule that since most people do not consider a talit katan to be a garment of value, there is no case when one should recite the blessing of shechianu in purchasing it. The fact that someone considers an important garment because it enables them to fulfill the mitzvah does not count. The conclusion of the Yalkut Yosef is that according to Shulchan Aruch, as long as a person feels happiness in acquiring the talit katan, you can make the shechianu. And the truth is, that's what the Rishon and Tzion often demonstrated, that there's a sfek to make a bracha. And therefore, he come and he said that you could do it. Despite this, the Yalkut Yosef wrote that you do not make a bracha of a talit katan, and he did not want to come and agree with the Igrot Moshe. He says most Sephardic Jews in Eretz Yisrael do not make a bracha of shechianu when you buy a talit katan, even on tzemer, meaning like mamash on real wool. Okay, what about now when they distribute it on in seminars? Arachim and all these all these seminars geared to inspire people to commit themselves to the beginning mitzvot is become the common practice that they give them a new talit katan and they tell them to come and to start making shechianu as well. So Bikat Hashem, he argued on this. He said it's incorrect. If the talit katan is a simple cotton garment, so for sure you can't make a shechianu. He says, even though he's very, very happy about it, but at the end of the day, it's not an important garment. So he said, nevertheless, he concluded that we cannot protest against this practice since there's some halachic basis for it. There are some poskim the rule that it permits to make a shechianu when forming a mitzvah for the very first time. Meaning the first time that you're ever going to do a mitzvah, you can make a shechianu. Now, even though we don't paskin like that, but since there's, this is also like kilu, it's another sneef. So you know what? If they're going to do that, they're doing it in order to get them inspired. So okay, let them. You're not gonna. Okay, we keep quiet and that's it. Okay.